So when is actually the best time to use your golden mileage tickets? Is it a good idea to save it for a limited time character, or should you spend it on a different one? A lot of highly anticipated characters are coming to the game very soon, so it can be hard for some people to know exactly when to spend it. So today, we will be going over the things that you need to consider to help you put yourself in a better position. This guide will mainly be towards free-to-play and low spenders, because those players are a lot more limited, so they will have to plan out more carefully. But hopefully, you can still learn a thing or two, even if you're a heavy spender. To start things off, let's talk about Pilgrims and limited time characters. These two are the most anticipated out of all the character types. Limited time characters are only available for a short period of time, plus there's no word about any of them having a rerun. On the other hand, you have the Pilgrim units who are extremely hard to get, even if they are featured in the rate up banner. So for you to know when to use your tickets, you first have to know what you're looking for. As a free-to-play or low spender, your resources are way more limited compared to a moderate or heavy spender. So setting your expectations accordingly will help you plan out more efficiently. You have to decide if you're going for a character simply because they look good, or do you want to go for a character in the hopes of improving your account. If you are going for a character to improve performance, then Pilgrims are most likely your best options. So far, the two Pilgrim units that have been featured in the rate up banner have both been really good. Modernia is a top tier DPS, and Dorothy is a mix of a DPS and support that is also top tier. It's hard to imagine that they would ever release a bad Pilgrim banner because it just makes sense for them to be really strong based on the story. A bit of spoilers for the later chapters in the campaign, but we actually have 3 Pilgrims that have been revealed and they will most likely be playable in the future. We have Chime, Indibilia, and Red Hood. Chime was revealed in the newest event quest, and the 2 other Pilgrims were part of the newest chapters in the campaign. With that said, a lot of the limited time characters have also been pretty good, but they are not on the same level as the Pilgrims. So if you mainly want to pull for characters based on strength, then Pilgrims will be your best bet. What about limited characters? We are anticipating to get 2 more variants for existing characters, namely Helm and Anise. And it's also speculated that we will be getting 3 new characters for the upcoming collab. So with a bunch of limited characters coming very soon, it's very important that you decide right now and plan out as soon as possible. The common misconception I see a lot of people have is that you should always get limited time characters, which, if you ask me, that is not necessarily true. Yes, this is your only chance to get the character, but the character being limited doesn't actually matter for some cases. Take for example Winter Shopper Rupee and Blue Ocean Neon. These characters are limited, but knowing how good, or should I say bad they are, is it really going to be a good idea to spend your golden tickets on them? And I'm assuming that the majority of you will say no. Yes, it's possible for a character to be released in a very bad state and then be indirectly buffed when we get a future character that complements them very well. But it's not really the best idea to get a bad character in the hopes of getting a future character that will potentially make them better. There's just too much uncertainty in the thought process. At the end of the day, we should be treating limited characters just like the regular ones. Pull for them because you like them, or pull for them because you can actually see yourself getting value from using them. This might be a hot take, but I do think that limited time characters will never be as good as we hope they would be. Because if you think about it, from a developer's perspective, releasing a very strong limited time character will not be healthy for the game. Just imagine if Modernia was a limited time character. You would very much hate to be that person who misses out on a broken unit. But that is not to say that limited characters will never be good. Some characters like Power are actually pretty good, but for the rest of them, they are usable at best and not nearly as good compared to the other characters in the same role. There might be an exemption for PvP because we do have a few limited characters that are exceptionally good for that. But for me, it doesn't really matter for the most part because you don't get much out of PvP. So it's not really a good idea to go for characters simply because they are good for the arena. To summarize the first section, Pilgrims are your safest bet because there is a very high chance that they will be really good. Limited characters can also be good options, but they won't be as good as the Pilgrims, and at the same time, they will most likely not be a must-have. Of course, there is still the possibility of having an outlier. Who knows if we will get a bad Pilgrim unit in the future, or if they will actually decide to release an extremely broken, limited time character. I'm just basing this on what we know, and how the other characters turned out to be in the past. So now, let's talk about the different factors that you need to consider, and what are the main things that you need to be looking for to help you pick the right character for your account. Knowing when to spend your golden tickets can depend on how far you are into the game. If you are still new, maybe you have only been playing for a few months, the character you should be going for is preferably a character that has versatility. Early on, you will be encountering a ton of different stages, so you will be switching characters frequently. But if you keep switching characters, that means that you have to upgrade multiple characters at the same time, which early into the game can really slow down your progress. So it's way better to at least have 3 characters that are always good, regardless of what stage you're up against. But if you're actually lucky early on and you manage to get a core team that are both flexible and is also really good, then just save all of your tickets until you get to the endgame or when you see a broken unit. But if you're someone who has been playing for a long time, maybe you already got to the endgame, and you already have a ton of really good characters built up, the main thing that you would want to look for is a character that fills the gaps in your roster. Take a look at your roster and see if you need more healers, see if you're missing a DPS character archetype, and basically just anything that you would find useful in the long run. The 2 main pieces of content you would want to base your decision on is the special interception and the raid content. Looking for characters that can help you clear the special interception is very important. Clearing this is the only way to get manufacturer specific gear, and most importantly, custom modules. So the sooner you can fully clear all of the bosses, the sooner you will be able to farm the endgame gear for your characters. And then once you're able to clear all of the bosses in the special interception, you can start to look for characters that will help you push your scores in the raids. Union and solo raids are what I would consider to be the ultimate endgame for NIKKE, at least for now. This is where you will be getting Union chips, which you can use to buy different types of batteries for upgrading harmony cubes, or if you're like me, you simp so hard that you decide to save your chips for max limit breaking the worst pilgrim with the best cup size. But maybe that's just me. For the raid content, your safest options are healers. You only have a few characters that can actually sustain your team's HP throughout a boss fight. So I would say that you can aim for having at least 5 really good healers, just so you can put 1 in each of your 5 teams. Currently, we have 5 or maybe even 6 very capable healers, but there is a high chance that you don't have all of them. So you can think about spending your golden tickets if we end up getting a new healer that happens to be on par, if not better than the existing ones. Healers just bring a ton of value for your team, especially if they bring more utility outside of healing, and just like in the case of Blanc and Bay Goddess Mary. But aside from healers, another option you can go for are specialized characters. This is more for the moderate to high spenders who really want to push their scores in their raid. As you all know, we get a different set of bosses every single season, so having a character that has the right skill set, weapon type or element can really boost your score for that season. Yes, pulling for characters that are only good for specific scenarios means that you won't be getting much use out of them. But whenever you do use them against the enemies that they are good against, they will be more than capable and are oftentimes better than the other characters. Ultimately, I only recommend this for those who are very competitive. If you are someone who likes to collect avatar borders, or maybe you just want to show off your high scores, then characters like these can be worth it. Overall, you should be spending your golden tickets cautiously because 200 tickets is equal to 60,000 gems. That's why it's important to have a list of what to prioritize and then base your decision on that. You also have to make sure that you do your own diligence and watch as many videos about the character or try to figure out the character with other people so that you have a good idea of what the character brings and if you actually need them. Another thing is that you never want to rush into getting a character if you're really concerned about how good they are. I would say that you should wait about a week after their release because by that time, players will most likely have tested the character intensively and the actual good reviews will be out. Don't fully trust the quote-unquote guides that gets released within 1 or 2 days of a character's release, because trust me, they haven't completely dissected the characters yet. With that being said, let me know what you think a character needs to have for you to actually spend your golden tickets on them. I would love to hear your thoughts, and as always, if you found this video useful, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.